subgenre of your favourite genre.
Yes.
Actually, that's not a bad point. We come across these by accident. It's quite fun. Right, so let's step into something I can do a bit better and discuss the more supernatural elements if we were doing supernatural
Holla.
holler.
Okay.
Right. So, ghosts. Ghosts are our favourite example for horror movies because basements, because poltergeist, because
Casper the Friendly
because
Ghost.
Casper the Friendly Ghost. He grew up.
Come on, we know that guy was a pervert. He was like, going in the changing rooms and stuff. Nobody ever is going to be a ghost and not use that ability.
I wish I could argue that it's true, but I don't think it's not.
Oh, come on, the human race is predictable.
But yeah, so if you are going to include supernatural elements, again, this is a perfect time to do your research. So, quite a common one we came across earlier is ghosts. They often have unfinished business. So if you're in a hospital with dark secrets, then a perfect excuse for a ghost running around is a grisly murder that never got solved and got covered up. It's not pleasant, but again, we're writing in the horror genre, so our apologies. What other examples could we come up with ghosts?
There's a good one in the Dresden Files with the old dear who had her child taken away from her, and she was waiting to get her child back, and she was basically seducing children to sleep.
Ooh.
Do you remember the one?
Oh, Agatha.
Yeah, that's the one. She was basically luring children to their death because she'd had her own child.
So actually, yeah, ghosts. If you are going for ghosts specifically, then you might often find them reliving incidents that from their last moments. In which case, if the ghost is like part of the story, then maybe they could be giving your character clues.
Ooh.
They could, be a combined setting, flavour, horror element, but also, a kind of clue to solving the mystery that seems to be developing.
Absolutely. The cliche policeman will be so happy.
The cliche policeman will be happy. Honestly, he has a magnifying glass. He is searching for clues.
Yes, absolutely.
All he needs now is a dog.
A companion, a long coat.
Oh, God. Right, but if you're not doing ghosts, then, what other supernatural elements are common in horror?
Ooh, I don't know, generally creatures like evil, scary fucking creatures. Like, the best thing about horror in the 90s was that horror was shit. Horror was terrible. But it was shit, like pants-shittingly terrible.
Yeah.
To the point that it's far better than anything that is produced today. It was like the first time that we really pulled off horror.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, you could always go for the big monsters, the demons and shit that just tear into people. Darren Shan's Demon
Oh, yeah, no, Darren Shad, definitely.
The book Slaughter. If you haven't read that book, it is actually a young adult's novel. Fantastic book, though. Fairly gruesome. Give it a go.
Yeah, no, very gruesome. I have to admit, I think I started reading it and then had to put it down until about 5 years later when I was actually brave enough to read it some more.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the read. Anyway,
yeah, we got a bit sidetracked again there, but that's fine. So yes, do your research, choose your supernatural elements, and once you've chosen them, you can either go with the traditional rules, so like with our ghost, unfinished business, repeating past events, maybe only come out at night. But at the same time, you don't have to stick to, rules that people have already come up with. You could have ghosts who, can only talk through radios, as an example. Or, ghosts that possess...
Take over? Oh, you were going to do exactly what I was
possession, yeah. Ghosts that can possess people and force them to relive their last moments.
Yes.
So, choose your rules. Obviously don't have ghosts that, go around breathing... Well, actually, you could have fire-breathing ghosts, I suppose.
Actually, I think that's been done.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, I just can't think which, but...
Anyway, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked again, but choose your rules, and then whatever you do, don't break them.
Yeah, stick to your rules, guys.
They can be... Yeah.
Such a... It just irritates me so much. Sorry.
Yeah.
A good example here is Star Wars. Star Wars creates all these rules in the first film and the second film. And by the third film, they've basically created a dozen plot holes in every scene of the movie. One good example of that is Darth Vader being Luke's father, even though Luke apparently grew up on Darth Vader's home planet. So he's just there on Darth Vader's home planet, and Darth Vader has no idea where to find this guy.
I was going to say, it's like, I don't know where to find my son. I guess I'll just go home and visit my fam. Oh no, wait, his family's dead, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But you see my point.
I do see your point. Yeah.
Plot holes. Just don't break your rules. Make sure your script makes sense. Your book makes sense.
So if you're going to have ghosts, that only come out in the night, then, it might make a really cool, scary scene for them to suddenly come out in the day when the character's not expecting it. But it will it'll disappoint your readers unless, a sub-point to go with this little ramble, unless you could have a ghost follow a particular pattern, just as our example, but, you could have that just be, a sort of red herring. If you always intended ghosts to be able to come out in the day or night, then, have them follow this pattern, but don't necessarily make it a rule.
Yeah.
You kind of fake people out that way, which, could lead to some really good horror moments.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so stick to your rules, unless you're, throwing red herrings out in order to lure people into false sense of security, which is really fun, actually.
And just a quick tangent on the research thing. I really do mean when I say don't scrimp on research, because if facts don't make sense and people are reading the book, you'd be surprised how obvious it is, where things won't make sense, even if you can't see it, because you're so focused on the story that as it's moving. The history and the backstory will be taken in a lot by your audience, so it's important that it makes sense.
Definitely. So, do your research, make up the rules, keep to the rules.
Basically, yeah.
Right, so we have the rules of our setting. I think we're pretty close to done, actually.
Yeah, actually, I think we need to go for, main conflict, between the entity or the killer and the victim or the killer who is also the killer, the two halves of the brain, for example.
Right, so I think... actually, we've missed a very important subject. The tone of your setting. I mean, obviously we're doing horror, so it's naturally going to have quite a dark tone to it. However, it can vary even in our genre of choice, so...
Oh, good example. The movie, The Crazies, has, I think one of the songs that was written for the soundtrack, or re-recorded for the soundtrack, was the... Bring me sunshine, bring me rain.
God, yeah, and there was Jeepers Creepers, when they had Jeepers Creepers. Where'd you get those? So, if you want to create a tone for your book, you can either go full on as dark as you can imagine, which isn't that difficult, but you can have your setting start to reflect your tone. So, if you want an exceptionally dark setting, then you can have, maybe a hospital with dirty walls, unkempt patients, just, you could go the whole lot in.
Yes.
So basically, choose your colour of black for your tone, and then spray paint the setting with it. Basically, yeah. But, and yeah, on the side note, music. I know obviously you can't have music in books, which is a shame, because books can make...
Yeah.
But... maybe if you want to have kind of characters humming along to a particular song to get it inside somebody's head.
Or have the radio play a particular song. I've used that trick so many times.
Yeah, it's a touch, but at the same time, music, especially music...
Sets the scene.
Especially out of place music. The amount of times we've heard children's rhymes used to add, a really freaky tone to a setting. It's unbelievable, but it works. So, pick a song I don't know, let's pick one.
I'm going to go with Crowd Surf Off a Cliff by Emily Haynes. It's a very somber song. It's very haunting. But the reason I think of that song is one way of doing it with the music would be to not mention how the melody or the tone is actually going with the song, just write the lyrics, because sometimes the lyrics by themselves
that's a good
can
point.
Really sink their teeth in.
Yeah.
Because you're focusing on them, not the melody.
Yeah. Personally, I'd probably go for juxtaposition to create my tone. If I was, for example, doing a slasher horror fic, I would undoubtedly go for something upbeat with some swing. I think, especially at the moment when the horror villain is chasing around his hapless victims, I really would just go in for some swing, oh god, I don't know.
Caravan Palace or Parastella.
Actually, the songs from Fallout would work quite well as well.
Yes.
The old. Oh god, but yeah, just add in something really upbeat. just for that, contrast. But it will at the same. Oh, it kind of gives me the shivers a bit just thinking about.
Bring me sunshine.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go. Where were we anyway?
We just covered tone, which I think is pretty much our last nail in the coffin of this particular article.
There is one more.
Oh, go on, man.
And that is actually finishing your story. A lot of people do overlook it, and I can understand why, because I do it when I'm writing my own books. But you got to end on a good note. You can't just cut off. Cliffhangers are great, even if you're never going to follow up. Cliffhangers are awesome. But make sure you tie up some of the loose ends, the big things, answer questions. Don't just cut it off without any answers.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to read your second book if you do that.
Oh, no. So have your character have a goal right from the get-go. So for our psychological hospital patient, it could be as simple as escape the hospital.
Yeah.
That is a really good goal. And the character could quite easily accomplish that. But then, as we're doing horror, it's a good genre for kind of leaving something niggling at the back of your mind. Maybe as the character is running, just kind of have that look back over the shoulder moment and see just one of the doctors looking out of the window. So it's kind of...
Just with like a little menacing smile.
Yeah, a little menacing smile. So, your character has accomplished the goal. They've saved the princess, escaped the mental hospital, done whatever. But there's still that little something niggling. Something that's always going to be in the back of their mind.
Yeah.
Especially for horror, that's a really...
in zombie horror, there's always the sort of implicit idea that they've been bitten or something, and they don't know.
There's somebody kind of just sliding down the sleeve.
Yeah, just like a bit of blood or something, but before they lift the sleeve up, camera cuts off.
Yeah. Oh god, I think one of my favourite, actually, it was a terrible movie. I'm sorry, but Godzilla. When they
that was a terrible.
That was a terrible movie, but when they had the one last egg, like Godzilla egg, right in the end, and it's like, yep. See, the characters have saved the day. Godzilla's died, kind of sad, but hey ho.
It wasn't that great.
It wasn't that great, but then they have. That was a brilliant example of a cliffhanger because you feel like accomplished, but there's still something waiting behind. Actually, sorry, we're going a bit off tangent, but I love this example. There's a horror movie, I think it's called Stitches, where basically
I know the one
with Ross Noble, yeah.
And
the cliffhanger there is, the teenagers, they save the day, they kill the slasher that's following them. But then you see this, I think it's like an egg. It's basically like the thing that brought the clown back to life. They see it being repaired right at the final scene.
Yeah.
So, right, yeah, we've gone off on a tangent again. I apologise.
Good example, very good example.
Very good example. So, yes, if you want your setting and your story to, have some kind of element that carries over into somebody's mind... Make sure your characters accomplish their goals, but don't be afraid to leave, the setting itself and maybe a good representative like a doctor from the setting still standing, just to kind of, you've escaped, you're fine, it's safe. The doctor's still there though, but it's fine. You'll never end up in there again. It's fine, honest.
Absolutely.
Dear God, I sound like Ian. Right, I think before we go off on any more horror tangents, we will bring this article to a close.
Before we do, just to recap, we recommend the book Slaughter by Darren Shan. Fantastic example of great horror writing. Check that out.
Definitely, yeah. That's definitely gore writing, but it's very good.
It's very good horror. It's well done. It has a good sense of humour as well. It's a great example of horror that has humour.
Yeah. If you're looking for musical examples... in books, can we provide any horror-specific ones? From books?
Damn, that's difficult. I haven't done this in a while.
Not horror-specific ones, but for example, we have come across our favourite Dresden Files series, a moment where Jim Butcher has the main character singing along to... Was it We Will Rock You?
Yeah, while he just blasts enemies out of the water.
Honestly, it lists in our top favourite moments. So if you don't believe that it can be done well in a book and not a film...
Read the entire Dresden Files
and
series.
then get to that moment. You will not deny us that it is a good idea. And what were our other points? Did we have any others? Oh yeah, leaving something lingering in your reader's mind.
Yeah.
A good film example, Stitches.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the possibility of the killer coming back, especially in a supernatural setting, that's a brilliant one.
Yeah.
And in a book-related example, do we have any? I don't read that much horror.
A book-related example for lingering your mind. Actually, yes, I do. I'm going to go with a Stephen King reference here.
Ooh.
I can't decide which.
Oh, there are a lot, yeah.
Actually, I'm not going to use a horror one. I'm going to use a thriller.
Oh.
Misery is the book where basically the writer gets kidnapped when he's in a car crash by his biggest fan, and he loses an ankle, and then she basically destroys his ankle just to stop him leaving. But at the end of that, you know what? I think I've got the wrong example. I'm sorry. I had an example in my head, but I'd lost the tangent in my head.
Oh, that's okay. Honestly, it's difficult to...
Don't worry about it, but...
Honestly, the movie example is still a good one and equally applies to horror writing, you know. Accomplish your goal, but don't be afraid to leave something behind, because it's not your traditional cliffhanger, and it can leave people freaking out for weeks, which is weird.
Oh, good example.
Oh, there we go.
John dies at the end.
Oh, of course.
Yes. John dies at the end of that book. Monster Dave, who is the replacement of the original Dave, the narrator, who has been killed by this guy.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers, by the way. It's just like playing basketball with John, and they're like, oh, look, another portal to another dimension right before it ends. It's like, it leaves so much open to be done.
Right, we will cut off this article here, but I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've taken away some good points from our world-building articles. In the next few weeks, I will have updated our site to contain some written examples of world-building articles, which are more in my flavour of fantasy, but hopefully still have some good points that can apply across genres. So, alright, we'll leave it there.
Absolutely.
Have fun.
See ya.